Odin was never a god who felt at home in one place. Even when his name carried weight among gods and humans alike, he chose movement over stillness. He crossed the worlds freely, stepping out of Asgard and into the lives of humans as if distance meant nothing to him. Most often he appeared as an old traveler, cloaked against the cold, his face partly hidden, a spear in his hand that looked less like a weapon and more like something used to steady tired steps. Those who met him rarely realized who stood before them. They sensed only a quiet force. Odin listened more than he spoke, allowing others to reveal themselves in moments they believed unimportant. He watched rulers when confidence slipped, warriors when fear crept in, and households when pride faded into exhaustion. Sometimes he rewarded generosity with insight or unexpected success. At other times, he tested arrogance by allowing events to unfold without interference. A suggestion offered quietly could linger in a king's thoughts for years. A single conversation might shift the course of a feud, a war, or an entire dynasty. When consequences finally arrived, Odin was already far away, leaving people to carry the weight of choices they believed were entirely their own. Power never brought Odin peace of mind. He ruled among the Aesir, commanded loyalty, and received the devotion of warriors who believed he guided victory itself. Yet what he observed troubled him. Brave men often fell early, while the cautious endured. Triumph frequently led to ruin, and peace carried within it the beginnings of future conflict. As he wandered, Odin began to notice how often history repeated itself. Leaders returned to the same mistakes with unwavering confidence. Promises failed in familiar patterns. Even the gods appeared caught in cycles they did not fully understand. Gradually, Odin came to suspect that the world moved according to structures hidden beneath visible action. Battles and treaties mattered, but something older shaped how they ended. Understanding that deeper order slowly became more important to him than ruling or being obeyed. That search led Odin to the roots of the world, where a well lay hidden beneath the surface of existence itself. Its waters were said to contain memory older than the gods, holding not stories retold, but lived experience gathered across ages. Beside it waited Mímir, whose silence carried the weight of everything he had seen. Odin approached without threat or demand. He understood the nature of what he sought. When the price was named, he accepted it without hesitation. One of his eyes was cast into the depths of the well, sinking into darkness that seemed to have no end. From that moment on, Odin's sight changed. Events revealed their connections more clearly, actions no longer ended where they began, and choices stretched forward, binding the present to futures not yet lived. The clarity was undeniable, and so was the burden it placed upon him. With this knowledge came unease. Odin could see how paths unfolded, yet he could not simply step away from them. Fate appeared woven together through countless decisions made over time, rather than sudden acts alone. Some threads tightened quickly, shaping events before anyone noticed. Others waited for years, pulling only when resistance was weakest. He also began to understand how language shaped the world. Oaths spoken aloud carried force. Names remembered continued to exert influence. Stories repeated across generations hardened into truths that guided action, whether or not they reflected reality. If words helped shape fate, then understanding their deeper source became unavoidable. That realization led Odin to Yggdrasil, whose branches and roots bound together life, death, and time. There, he made a decision that would mark him forever. He bound himself to the tree, wounded by his own spear, and remained suspended between worlds. For 9 nights, hunger gnawed at him, pain blurred his thoughts, and isolation stripped away all distraction. Time lost its familiar shape, leaving only endurance. At the edge of death, the runes revealed themselves. They were forces that had existed long before Odin reached for them, waiting for someone willing to endure the cost of understanding. What Odin gained on the tree was not a simple collection of symbols. The runes revealed themselves gradually, as if testing whether he truly understood what he had risked to reach them. Each carried sound and meaning, bound together with intention, memory, and consequence. Odin learned that a rune carved or spoken without care could unravel as much as it could heal. Some of the knowledge he gained concerned protection. There were words that could ease pain, steady a frightened mind, or strengthen a warrior whose resolve was fading. Other runes held darker possibilities. They could bind an enemy's will, distort perception, or turn certainty into confusion. Some were meant to break chains, while others could bind a person more tightly than iron ever could. Over time, Odin realized that none of these forces acted without leaving traces behind. Every word shaped the world in small but lasting ways. A spell spoken once could echo through years. A name remembered could influence events long after the moment it was first uttered. He came to treat language with caution. Knowledge demanded restraint as much as courage. Speaking without thought invited chaos, yet silence carried its own risks when action was needed. The runes taught him that wisdom often lay in knowing when power should remain unused. From then on, Odin carried the weight of every word he chose to speak, aware that nothing spoken could ever be fully taken back. Even the runes did not satisfy Odin's need to understand what lay ahead. There were forms of knowledge that could not be reached through symbols alone. They required openness rather than control, vision rather than command. This led Odin towards Seidr, a form of magic tied to prophecy, altered states, and the subtle shaping of fate. Among warriors and kings, this path inspired suspicion. Seidr demanded stillness, vulnerability, and patience, qualities rarely admired in a culture that valued strength and certainty. Those who practiced it were often distrusted, sometimes mocked, and occasionally feared. Odin accepted this distance. In some traditions, it was Freya who guided him into the deeper aspects of Seidr. The learning was slow and demanding. It required him to release control, to listen instead of imposing his will, and to endure visions that offered neither comfort nor clear resolution. Through Seidr, Odin glimpsed futures that shifted rather than settled. Small actions rippled outward, altering paths in ways no single choice could fully predict. Fate revealed itself as a landscape shaped by countless decisions, fears, and forgotten moments. As his understanding grew, certainty faded. Knowledge no longer felt like a tool meant to command events, but more like a responsibility that deepened with every vision. Others stepped away from this path because it unsettled them. Odin remained because it reflected the world as it truly was. For all his wandering and sacrifice, Odin was still a father. He shaped gods much as he shaped kings, guiding some, testing others, and allowing even his own children to walk dangerous paths. Among them was Balder, whose presence stood apart from the rest. Where Odin carried weight and unease, Balder brought calm. He was loved easily, trusted instinctively, and his death would strike deeper than Odin expected. When Balder's dreams turned dark, Odin recognized the warning at once. Such visions rarely came without cause. Disguised again, he traveled to the realm of the dead and questioned Osiris, who had long since left the world of the living. From her, he learned what he had already begun to fear. Balder was not meant to survive what was coming. Odin returned with knowledge but no solution. Even when the gods sought to protect Balder, extracting promises from all things not to harm him, fate found its way through something overlooked and dismissed. When Balder fell, Odin was forced to accept that no sacrifice he made could alter what was already moving toward its end. After Baldur's death, Odin's attention turned increasingly toward what lay ahead. He had long chosen warriors from the battlefield, but his selections now grew more deliberate. He watched how men fought, but also how they endured fear, responded to loss, and faced death when escape was no longer possible. These qualities mattered as much as strength. Those chosen were brought to Valhalla, a place often misunderstood. It didn't offer rest or reward. Instead, it served as preparation. Each day the fallen trained, fought, healed, and trained again, repeating the cycle without end. Odin was not gathering warriors for conquest. He was preparing for a moment he knew could not be avoided. As Odin's attention turned ever more toward the future, he relied on more than prophecy alone. His ravens, Hugin and Munin, flew across the worlds each day, returning with knowledge of what stirred beneath the surface of events. Odin listened closely, aware that memory itself could fail, and that even wisdom might slip away if not guarded carefully. Beside him walked his wolves, Geri and Freki, constant reminders that hunger and survival were never far apart. Odin fed them while he himself abstained, a quiet reflection of how his concerns had long moved beyond simple needs. These companions mirrored Odin's understanding of the world as it truly was, watchful, relentless, and unforgiving. As Ragnarok drew closer, Odin did not stop searching. He questioned seers, sought out giants who remembered older cycles of destruction, and returned to the dead in the hope that something had been missed. Each path led back to the same conclusion. The end might be delayed, but it could not be undone. The more Odin understood, the heavier his role became. He knew who would fall, which bonds would break, and the part he himself would play. Still, he continued to act, to prepare, and to guide others toward what little resistance could be offered. When Ragnarok finally arrived, it unfolded much as Odin had foreseen. The world shook, boundaries collapsed, and old enemies met at last. Odin rode forward knowing where his path led. When he faced Fenrir, there was no surprise left in him, only resolve. Fenrir devoured Odin, as the prophecy had long promised. The god who had spent his existence seeking understanding met an end he had accepted long before. There was no triumph in this moment, only completion. Ragnarok was not a failure in Odin's eyes. It was the end he had prepared himself to face. Odin's death was not the end of his story. What remained was the legacy of his choices. He valued understanding even when it demanded loss. He continued forward despite knowing how the road would end. Odin endures because his story reflects something deeply human, the desire to understand the world even when that understanding offers no escape, and the strength required to face truth without illusion. And that is why his story is still told.